Hello, and you're very, very welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. It's 1 o'clock. Today, we're going to be talking about Brexit and customs, what you need to know before January the 1st. Whether we like it or not, folks, change is coming. And irrespective of whether there's a deal struck with the UK and the EU between now and January, any business we do with the UK or through the UK is going to change after January, and that's guaranteed. So we have three guests today, but literally I have two. One's running a little bit late. So let's meet today's guests. Okay. Here they are, popping in there. So first up, we have Pamela and Michael. So Pamela Laird, you may even recognize the face. Do you recognize the face? I know I recognize the face. Pamela is a beauty entrepreneur. She owns a brilliant beauty brand called Moxi Loves. She also was third in the UK Apprentice in 2019. So she evaded Alan Sugar's "You're Fired" for quite some time last year. She also had 3 Irish dragons wanting to invest in her business in the past. But she's really here today to talk about how Moxie Loves has prepared for Brexit and why you're prepared for Brexit, because I think a lot of businesses at the moment are still, quite frankly, not prepared for Brexit. So why you did it early. So Pamela, a big hello, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Greg. That was some intro. I was like, oh, I don't have to say anything.
Pretty good. There you go.
Thank you. No, I'm delighted to be here. I think I'm going to be listening as much as sharing what I've done so far. So hopefully Michael and Carol can fill me in on anything I'm missing.
Brilliant. Super. And then we have the amazing Michael, who I always refer to as Mr. Donegal. Now, Michael is the head of enterprise at the local enterprise office in Donegal. And Michael's going to be talking about some of the Brexit supports that the local enterprise office offer, and talking about how small businesses are preparing for Brexit. It's getting close to January and it's scary times. So a big hello, Michael.
Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon to everybody.
Good stuff. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by grabbing Michael for a second. So I'm going to wave a teary goodbye to you, Pamela, for a second.
I'll be listening.
There you go. Michael, what I find quite interesting here is you're looking after the local enterprise office in Donegal. Now, so many small businesses in Donegal, they may cross into the UK through Northern Ireland 5, 6, 7 times a day without even thinking. Their customers are Northern Irish customers. Their suppliers are Northern Irish suppliers. Brexit must be a very scary thing for counties like Donegal. How are businesses preparing for Brexit?
Oh, good question, Greg. I think the figures, just to give an idea of the scale of it, the figures we would have from our annual survey, which in the last 3 years, when Brexit came around, our client base, which is those who receive grant aid, and take those as a sample of businesses in Donegal, 70 to 74% over 3 years were selling product into Northern Ireland or the UK. So that's quite a significant percentage. And we've recently gone back to them through a Brexit advisor, and a lot of them are saying, yeah, the real challenge is into Northern Ireland. So as you said in the intro, the challenge is to get all of them, or as many of them as possible, to be aware of how urgent it is now. That there's not a question about Brexit; it is going to happen. The transition period will come to an end at the end of this year. So will we Brexit no deal or some sort of a modified deal 1st of January? I know in talking to some of the clients that have taken Brexit to heart, the critical thing is how do they get their product in to Ireland. So a lot of the product is coming from the UK. So it's coming land bridge into the UK, and then it's coming through maybe into Dublin or Belfast. If it's Dublin, it's been brought by trucks up through Northern Ireland. That's the shortest route to Donegal, or it's coming from Belfast. So again, there's the potential border. So they're looking at one as a supply chain and talking to their customers in relation to One, are they aware on the UK side as to what the implications will be, but also putting preparations in themselves, looking to see is there alternative suppliers for what the raw material is, and looking at, I suppose, are there other options of actually avoiding that land bridge. And again, small thing might be that I know talking to a few of them, the issue was so if they put their finished product on a truck that's going down to Dublin, let's say, and if there's a delay at the border on this side, a delay at the border at the other end, and when they get to the port in Dublin, there's another delay. So the cost of the transport, something that might be done in 24, 36 hours is now going to take 48 to 60 hours. So there's a cost that's going to be added back to them. So those are the kind of issues that they've been looking at. And a lot of it is about the logistics, raw materials, how do I get my product in and out, and how do I get my finished product in and out. And tied into that, of course, is the whole customs issue. And I think we've been saying that from day one, irrespective of what kind of a deal, there's always going to be some bit of customs. And it is additional paperwork. And the question is, because I can go back, and I can remember when I worked in Dundalk many, many years ago, there was a line about 1.5 miles of customs clearance people between one end of the town and the border into Newry. So they've all gone. That expertise is gone. Businesses aren't as familiar with. My understanding is, from attending a few of the customs, the forms haven't changed though in those 25, 30 years, but the processes and the knowledge. And I think the key thing for a small business and our client base is they need to look at that. You need to get familiar with what is required, and then make a decision. Are we going to buy this? Are we going to pay a customs clearance officer to do this, or an office? Or are we going to upskill somebody in our organization who will have the wherewithal to do this? And there's probably a cost analysis there. Is it worthwhile doing it internally? Or does it make more sense to buy it in? And I suppose in that context, Greg, I would say there is a scheme there from Enterprise Ireland, so that there is grant aid there to enable a business, an eligible business, get software, but also a contribution towards employing somebody internally in their organization to do that customs clearance. So customs is the big one, the transport and the logistics and the supply chain. And then it depends on your sector. As you know, I mean, we hear a lot about, in Donegal, our big concern is what's going to happen with fishing, because that's one of the big things around the deal. So it's pretty limited the amount of months, days, weeks that fishermen can go out of Killybegs and Greencastle. So, that'll be a concern. But also in the food, shipping animals, shipping food products or produce north or south, or in our case, east or west, the whole issue of tariffs. And that's where whether there's the deal, no deal comes in as to whether there's, sure. If there's no deal, it's going to be more than likely tariffs, and it's on those kind of products. So if you're buying in like steel, a commodity product or a food product, that's where the tariffs are going to be. But it's, as I say, it's customs, it's logistics, it's transport are the key things that they're looking at in Donegal.
Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. Now, one amazing resource that the local enterprise office offers, which is a no-brainer for small businesses to embrace, is a Brexit workshop. Now, I know Carol Lynch is with us today, and she'll be talking about what's involved in the likes of a Brexit workshop. But tell us a little bit about what the Brexit workshop is and what small businesses should attend it.
Well, those customs workshops really are they're generally two elements to it. One is the overview of here's what's required in relation to customs. The whole issue around registering as an economic operator and doing that through revenue. Then, depending how you want to develop and I suppose the scale of your business, do you want to register to become these approved? I think it's approved operator. And the second part is going into the detail. So they go into. I think I don't forget now, but it was 42 or 46 boxes in the customs form, and they go through that form in detail, and they'll say this is how you fill it in, this is what's required, and then they're willing to. Obviously, there's a lot of interaction, so it is a very good introduction to customs and the customs process and what you need to do. And I suppose that first thing is to register, register as an economic operator. And get your registration identification. So that will allow you then actually submit your customs. Again, not only that, but there are other supports around that. I mean, SkillNets as well as providing training for staff in the whole area of customs. So there are other supports as well. But I think it's a very good introduction. Again, going back, Greg, we found over the last 2 years, within a month or two of Brexit looming, the few times it has loomed, businesses are very keen and they register. And both times it was kicked down the road. They just didn't turn up then. So I think there's going to be no kicking down the road again come the 1st of January. So there's a small window now, October, November, December. And, you know, I would advise any small business to look at the website, localenterprise.ie. And in there under Brexit, you can find your local enterprise office and you can, or even not your own enterprise office, but all of us, I think, have now workshops monthly happening now to the end of the year. And you can log in. The great thing, I suppose, about the technology is you can log in from anywhere. But I think there's one happening every week, and probably a couple every week between now and the end of the year. And I would say advise to log into that. It's free. So it's a good starting point. And the sooner you do it, the better you can prepare and the better you can plan for what you have to do.
Brilliant. No, that's fantastic. Sure. Well, let's talk about some of those other Brexit supports that are available from the local enterprise office a little later. But thank you so much. I want to see whether we can get Carol Lynch in here. So with a bit of luck, we have Carol. Carol.
Hi, how are you?
Good stuff. Great to see you. Now, just for anyone that doesn't know, I call you the guru, nearly the messiah of when it comes to the customs. Not to big you up or anything, Carol. No. You're partner of customs and trade at BDO Ireland.
Yes.
You advise international companies on customs and excess duty, how they can not only save money but also make sure that they're fully compliant. So you have a wealth of experience. So thanks so much for joining us today. To start things off, you know, Brexit, it's not going to go away. I know some of us think it is. There's no chance really of the UK suddenly looking for another extension and this stuff getting pushed out. January the 1st is going to happen and things are going to change.
Yeah, exactly. Where we stand at the moment, am I getting an echo in the line?
No, but you are on. If you're on, I don't know whether that helps. You're connected through two devices, or you've been connected through two tabs. Okay. And you have muted one mic, so it should be okay.
Possibility now of an extension to Brexit. So that's coming into effect on 1 January, and we're into the last quarter now in preparation for that. So you'll have seen from the government messaging and the revenue commissioners, everybody who's here probably got a letter from the revenue over the last 2 weeks in terms of preparing for Brexit. It is coming into effect on 1 January from an economic perspective, and that means that we will have import declarations on arrival of goods from the UK into Ireland and export declarations required to leave Ireland. I suppose what we don't know right now is whether there's going to be customs duties charged. And that's going to be a result of how successful the free trade agreement negotiations are. They're the discussions that are going on at the moment between the UK and the EU, but they're solely focused on whether there will be a free trade agreement and as a result, whether there'll be customs duties. And the results of that aren't going to be helped by the announcement this morning that the EU is going to bring the UK government to court over the internal market bills and the breach of faith involved there. So that probably isn't going to bode well for the results of today's discussions and the feeling in the UK. But putting that duties aspect aside, you know, albeit it's very important, but putting that aside, what we do know on 1 January is that companies now need to prepare. This isn't going to change. There's going to be nothing. I was at a revenue meeting last week and the message was very clearly there's going to be nothing that's going to happen between now and the end of the year that's going to change the requirement for customs to lodge import declarations, to lodge export declarations, to present your goods at the borders, and if you're involved in food and agri products, to register with the department and meet your agricultural controls. So that's coming into effect now. Nothing's going to change that.
Okay, so because so many businesses are kind of sucking it and seeing, I'm seeing out there, which is obviously quite dangerous. There was a question in, and it's exactly that type of suck it and see thing. Someone says, you know, what businesses should prepare for Brexit? This person says they're a small beauty salon. They order products in from the UK, but they're not sure what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay. The first thing would be to open a conversation with your supplier to determine who's going to act as the exporter from the UK and who's going to act as the importer from the UK. If they currently deliver to you on a delivered basis, you might be able to encourage them to continue to do that. It probably will be difficult because they're going to have to act as the importer into Ireland, VAT register in Ireland, engage a clearance agent in Ireland. So assuming, let's say best case scenario, they do that and then you don't need to worry about it. But let's say worst case scenario, they say no, you have to actually import the products into Ireland. Then what you need to do is you need to make sure you have an EORI registration and you are VAT registered, obviously. You need to employ a clearance agent to lodge those declarations with customs on your behalf. You need to ensure that you have a tariff classification for your products. And then that would be my key kind of focus at the moment, the EORI, tariff classification, and the clearance agent, because there's a shortage of clearance agents in the country. So you want to make sure you have one to act on your behalf.
Okay, brilliant. And I mean, I'm sure to that salon owner, that's just sounds scary stuff. I'm not sure what Carol is saying. Oh my God, panic. BDO, we're very, very lucky at the local enterprise office that you guys have helped us with Brexit workshops, which are being rolled out across the country to help businesses like these understand and put a plan together for Brexit. Tell us a little bit about the workshops. So the
first thing is I would absolutely encourage everybody to ensure to register for those workshops. We do a one-day workshop explaining all about customs, breaking it down into bite-sized chunks, what it is you need to do on imports, if you export, what you need to do on exports, how to register with customs, how to get a clearance agent, how to classify your goods. Everything I've just been talking about is explained with slides, presentations, Q&A sessions, obviously online at the moment, but we try to make it as interactive as possible. So Lorna Kelly, who gives those presentations, is very interactive in her discussions, so gets very good feedback. So definitely log on to those webinars. They will talk you through the A to Z, everything you need to know without overcomplicating it, everything you need to know at a basic level in terms of imports and exports. In addition, if you go onto our BDO website and sign up for our newsletters, we have to get your approvals under GDPR regulations. You'll get access to, you'll be on our list for all the updates that we send out in terms of customs bulletins. And also, if you sign on to our clearance website, Declaring, you'll get all the information that you need in relation to how to clear goods through customs. So a lot of support, as well as the local enterprise offices, because we work obviously so closely with the LEOs, we do try to provide as much as possible in terms of information for any of the LEO companies who are looking to get further information in this area.
Brilliant. You mentioned a website which is up on the screen, guys, if anyone's looking, DeclaringIE. What is that website?
Okay, so as a result of the shortage of clearance agents, revenue estimated to be about 3,000. We will be short about 3,000 clearance agents in Ireland coming into January, and the number of declarations that is going to be required is going to increase from 1.9 to 20 million. So we've got a serious issue there. So the government and the revenue obviously have been looking at how to address that, and you've got two options really. One is to bring those declarations in-house, but that's really for kind of companies who would have a lot of staff to do that. And certainly if you do want to bring it in-house, EI run a clear skills initiative to train you on that process. If you want to employ an outsourced clearance agent, there is a shortage in the country. So BDO together with Fexco set up DeclaringIE, which is primarily aimed at the SMEs who are having difficulty accessing clearance agents and who need to understand also what an import declaration and export declaration is. So we run weekly webinars to just help you understand the information you need to put together over the next 3 months so that we can lodge your import declarations and export declarations for you from 1st of January.
Very brilliant. I actually think I have the website there. There seems to be quite a lot there. So that's,
hopefully.
Yeah, but that's the website there. So it's DeclaringIE. So there seems to be a lot of value and a lot of info on that website for anyone that is looking for answers.
Yes.
Brilliant. Fantastic stuff. Now, another question that came in, and again, I think it's probably the clear message today is sign up for a workshop. Let's not stop, and standing still is going backwards and potentially going to damage your business. But this person, which I'm sure we can all empathize with, has said that I'm too busy to keep my business afloat with COVID, and I don't know whether Brexit's going to happen. And we've just said it is going to happen. So
it is going to happen.
The first question. So I'm waiting to see what happens.
No.
Is this a problem? And
yes. Yeah. And you know, definitely everybody's in the same boat. You know, everyone over the last 6 months is struggled to survive through COVID. And, you know, there's very little headspace for doing anything else. But unfortunately, and I don't mean to come across harsh on that, unfortunately, we don't have a choice. The, you know, Brexit is happening on 1 January, whether we like it or not. And as a result, even though it is horrific to have to try and deal with COVID and Brexit at the same time, there's nothing any of us can do to change that. So it is happening on 1 January. And as a result, while everyone is busy and, you know, surviving is the main thing, these workshops from the Leos are available. They are free. It's 1 day, just literally 1 day. So, you know, it's really important to try and carve out the time to attend them, because on 1 January, things are going to change. There's nothing stopping this. This is happening.
Okay, so let's take a moment just to ram home that very important point. So it's localenterprise.ie/Brexit. You know, if you're taking goods in, or even goods are transporting through the UK, this is going to affect you, whether you're buying or selling. So the simple reality is you need to visit this website. So it's localenterprise.ie/Brexit. When you go here, you'll see a bunch of resources, some more which Michael will talk about a little bit later, including the customs training workshop. So if you click on the customs trading workshop, we will literally get all the workshop dates and locations that are coming up for your county. So just so you know, it's that simple. So if I'm in Kilkenny, I'm going to click on my Kilkenny. The next event, it's unfortunately booked out, but it's on the 8th, the 8th of this month. And again, it gives me a breakdown of what each session covers and so on. So again, this is an absolute no-brainer. If this stuff affects you, it's happening. Visit localenterprise.ie/Brexit and literally sign up to one of these sessions. So brilliant. You had, I don't know whether it'd be useful looking at, Carol. I'm sure it would be. You had a couple of slides that you'd send me. I may stick them up now, if that's okay with you. And,
yeah, absolutely.
You can talk.
And if anybody, we have this in a PDF, so if anybody wants a copy of it afterwards, you know, they can, or it can be sent around to everybody who's logged on to this. It's really just trying to put together the critical steps that you need to take over the next couple of months. So there's a little bit of a blurb there, and just preparing your business for Brexit and looking at the customs, VAT, tax, and Brexit planning. But if we go into the kind of the next slide, which has the 10-point plan, and really what we're trying to do here is simply say, you know, what absolutely must you do at the moment? And if you look at the first step there, it's ensure you have a customs EORI registration. This is the easiest thing in the world to do. Go onto the Ross website and just request it. You'll get it in 24 hours. It's going to be linked with your VAT number, but you can't import or export without it. And that's probably the first thing on the, you know, again, sorry, if you look at your revenue checklist, that's going to be the first thing that's on that. The next thing to look at is, how are you going to pay customs duties on arrival? Now, to some extent, I would probably say, you know, I wouldn't overly worry about that for the next 10 days, because if there's a free trade agreement, there won't be customs duties to pay. But if there is no customs free trade agreement, then duties will be payable, and you're going to need to decide, do you want to pay that for every single shipment, or do you want to have a deferred payment authorization in place with the revenue, whereby you pay it the month after import? If you do, you need to make an application to revenue for that deferred payment authorization, and you need to make sure you have a guarantee in place, and you need to talk to the bank. For those applications, it might be helpful to everybody to know as well, the links to those applications and the how-to and how to complete them are on the Declaring website on the homepage, so you can link straight in and make your application, rather than trying to kind of find out through Google, as I tend to do, where to go for all these applications and authorizations. Thirdly, you want to look at your tariff classifications. This is absolutely essential. No matter whether you're paying duty or not paying duty, the tariff classification of your product has to be 100% correct. And this is now going to be included on the customs import and export entry. Again, on the Declaring website, we've linked to the TARIC, which is the EU classification database, and to the new UK classification database. So you can go straight in there and find your classifications. But do spend some time on that. Next, I'm looking at the declarations. So how are you lodging the customs declarations? Do you want to do this yourselves, or do you want to employ a customs clearance agent? If you want to employ a customs clearance agent, it's time to start talking to those agents, to your hauliers, to your freight forwarders, and getting confirmation from them that they have the experience and have done this before, and what the pricing obviously is. If you're selling into the UK, there is a 6-month derogation on lodging import declarations and paying customs duty if it's due, so that they will be all lodged and paid in July instead of January. But there are quite strict conditions attached to actually making use of that procedure. So again, if anybody needs further information on that, please feel free to contact us. Next, talk to your suppliers and customers. Check who's going to be the person exporting the goods and who's going to be the person importing the goods. I know a lot of companies were reluctant to open those conversations on the basis that hopefully if goods are being delivered duty paid, it would continue that way. But there's no point ignoring it. You really have to decide between yourself, your supplier, your customer, as to who's taking those functions on, because there are associated, controls and conditions. And most particularly, for example, if you're selling into the UK on a delivered basis, which most UK customers are demanding, continues, you need to VAT register in the UK, and that's going to take 2 months. So you can't leave it till December to actually find that out. If you're importing agricultural products, food product-based products, fish-based products, anything like that, you need to register with the Department of Agriculture, understand the new traces system, and ensure that you know how to get the certs that are applicable. Again, for that, make sure to log on to DAFM website. There's a huge amount of information there on how to, again, just Google DAFM and Brexit, and you'll get all the Brexit registration requirements from the Department of Agriculture. And similarly, if you're in that industry, talk to Board BIA. They also will be able to provide you with the information on the agricultural controls. As I said, check your VAT position. If you need to VAT register, it's going to take 2 months, so that needs to be done ASAP. And I'm not, Northern Ireland, fortunately with the withdrawal agreement, our north-south trade doesn't change. So movements of goods between the north and the south remain as they are at present. It's an island of Ireland approach. But if you import from GB into Northern Ireland, there may be some conditions. So to be honest, I think just even at a very straightforward level, those would be the top 8 things that I would say, even as a takeaway from here. If you tick those off and had those done, you'd be in a reasonably good position. Okay,
brilliant. And the great news is there's loads of amazing questions flying in as well.
Okay.
So let's jump to some of them. So there's a question in from Tara Lane there. Let's pop it up, which I think the answer is probably yes. But so if I'm not, so what if I'm not VAT registered? And obviously a lot of very small businesses may have this issue.
Yeah. If you're not VAT registered, you're going to be paying VAT at the point of import, which, as opposed to accounting for it elsewhere. So if you import goods, now I will caveat with this with saying I'm not a VAT expert, but VAT is payable on the point of import. So say, for example, you imported something from the US at the moment, you'd pay your customs and your import VAT when those goods arrived at the port. The same is going to happen now with goods from the UK. You'll pay your customs and your VAT on arrival at the port and when those goods clear customs.
Okay, brilliant. Now, just to keep it on that theme, it's DUs. So what are the implications if VAT is not currently appearing on a retailer website?
I will have to honestly say I don't know the answer to that one, but I can certainly find it out and email back. If I'll get a copy of that question afterwards, and I'll check that out for you. I just don't know the answer offhand. No, that's absolutely fine.
Now, again, Dee is very eager today, but a good question here is there a cost? You talk about a clearance agent, so what is it? Is there a cost? What is the cost?
Okay, you'll need to shop around. The costs vary considerably. So if it's in the fast parcel, if you're using like kind of the fast parcel trade, like the UPS's, FedEx, DHL, their costs will be lower for kind of packets of goods. If you're in kind of more the company structure where you're importing kind of manufactured goods, etc., and you're looking for a clearance agent, it would be up to €100 a clearance. The Declan, we're trying to bring it in at 45, which is pretty much at the lower end of the scale, if not the lowest. But you might be able to negotiate with your haulier, your freight forwarder to include it. So get a few quotes, ask everybody, and then try and work out what the best option is. But don't just do it on cost. I would say just being very careful here. You want to make sure that if you are being quoted a price, that the people who are doing that have experience, that they've done it before, and they're not just setting up to provide that service now.
Brilliant. Talking of hauliers, this is Aileen. So a haulier asked her, do you have an EORI number when importing goods from the UK? How do you go about getting this?
Okay, that was the first point there I mentioned on the list. Very easy. No panic on this one at all. If you're VAT registered, go on to the revenue. If you go into revenue, www.revenue.ie, type in EORI registration. I said it's also the applications directly on our Declaring website. There's a direct link, and you can just request. It's really activate. You just request to activate the EORI. It'll take you 5 minutes, and you'll have it within 24 hours.
Well, okay, that's pretty good. Fantastic stuff. Let's see whether there's any other questions. Let's throw this up and see whether we can deal with. There's a big question. So Julie, so
really getting tested here today.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, that's what we're all about, testing you. So Julie, could someone like a beauty salon not avail of the small consignment threshold?
Yep.
That's what I'm hoping to do, having done some Leo workshops, and my consignments are typically about £100 sterling in value. If I pay for clearance, would it make my products unaffordable?
Sorry, I should have clarified with that one. No. There is a small consignment relief, and I think the threshold is about €150 or so. Again, I can send the link out after the webinar, and that means that you have a simplified clearance process. And there's been some changes, I know, on the VAT side of things, but I can circulate certainly around the small consignment relief for anybody who has those kind of, as you say, those small packages, which are going to be a lot less costly in terms of your clearance, and also there's duty reliefs and VAT reliefs.
Okay, so that's some good news, Julie. That's fantastic stuff. Brilliant. And then Rob was asking, can you clarify exactly what we should be asking our UK suppliers with regards to them importing into Ireland? Great question.
So what I would be going back to them and asking them now, first of all, I'd probably try and put a little bit of pressure on. If they currently deliver to you at present, so they're operating on a delivered basis, you want to try and kind of say, oh, I expect that you'll continue to deliver to us in the same way post-Brexit. And I suppose leave the question and hope they say yes. If they push back, what you need to know is, what is the procedure? Are they, who's going to be exporting it from the UK? At a very minimum, you want to make sure that they are lodging the export paperwork in the UK. You don't want to take responsibility for that. Then you're looking at the import declaration into Ireland. So who's going to be lodging that import declaration? Can they arrange it? Can they ask their clearance agents to arrange it, or are they expecting you to do it? And if it's you have to do it, then obviously you've got to go through all the various procedures. If there's customs duties, the costs are going to go up. So who's going to absorb those duties? Are they planning to recharge? Can you negotiate? Can you say it's just you want the costs to remain the same? So there's a negotiation there to start with. And I would always start with, I would say, we expect you to continue to deliver as you do at present, and hope they say yes. But if they don't, then start the negotiation process.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, fantastic. So I mean, I think there's so much there that our starting point is no doubt it's going to localenterprise.ie/Brexit side. It's signing up and making sure we're doing one of these courses and that we have the knowledge to move forward with confidence. And putting things in place take time. So we need to make sure we do it now and we don't wait till very, very close to January. There's another great question, and it's because it sounds like the sort of thing I would say. Should I bulk buy supplies now and avoid my problems in January?
Absolutely. You definitely want to try and stockpile to the extent possible. The problem we're having is that a lot of companies have used up their stockpiles from last year's potential Brexit with COVID, obviously. So, and also capacity and production is down because of people not being able to manufacture because they haven't been able to go into work. So those two things are hitting quite hard. But certainly try and have as much in the country that you need to have in the country, or in the UK if you need it in the UK. Try and have it in place, in situ, before 1st of January. There's inevitably going to be delays at the ports in January. No matter how well prepared you are, there's going to be somebody who isn't. So do try. I would be saying yes, try and ensure that you have sufficient stockpile to get yourselves to January, if at all possible.
Okay, and then last question we'll sum up. I sell my goods to the UK through third-party websites like Amazon.co.uk .co.uk. Will Brexit affect me?
Yes, and I'm sure actually Amazon probably have been in touch, as a lot of those retailers have, in terms of their new procedures for selling goods on their website post 1 January, whether it be in the UK or EU-wise. But yes, if you sell into a distribution warehouse in the UK, for example, again, you're going to have your export declarations in Ireland. You're going to have your import declarations in the UK. You're going to need to register for VAT in the UK. So all these procedures are going to kick in.
Okay, brilliant. And then finally, if we just sum her up, so as a small business, what should we do now to prepare for January? What are the 5 things we should do now to prepare for January the 1st, 2021?
Well, the very first thing is attend the Brexit webinar sessions with Leo's, because that'll give you all the information and preparation and planning so that you're going in with a structured plan. So that's absolutely number one. Number two, then make sure you've got your EORI. Make sure you have a clearance agent in place. Make sure you talk to your customers and your suppliers, and also check the VAT position if you're selling and deliver on a delivered basis into the UK. Okay,
absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much for your words of wisdom. If there are further questions, keep them coming in. We'll jump back to Carol at the very end. But thank you so much for all the amazing questions. I want to bring in, I don't know whether you have any questions for Carol, Pamela.
I really enjoyed that, actually, Carol. Thank you. There were some things that I suppose when I did the Brexit workshop, it was early stages. We were all waiting, what's it going to be? And now, obviously, this year itself has changed a lot. But no, it was really interesting here. I need to get my EORI number approved, that's for sure. But I think I'm going to do maybe go back and do another workshop, get the updates. I think it's really interesting because I would have a small bit of dealings with customs clearance when I'm importing, like from China. And so obviously now, just getting your head around that will be the same with the UK if it's a no deal. So yeah, it's very interesting about how it's all going to work.
It is. A lot to do.
Absolutely. Now, Pamela, tell us about your business. So rather than with jumping into Brexit, tell us about tell us about Moxi Loves. Tell us more about the business.
So I'm the founder of Moxi Loves. It's a cosmetics brand, and we started exporting into the UK late last year in 2019. And it's been great. Like it's a business that's growing. We launched into Primark, and we're in Penny stores in Ireland. We've launched onto Ocado, which just actually in the last couple of weeks, which is a grocery store online in the UK. We're also on Amazon UK, and we're in Boots UK. So heavily reliant on the UK market now over the last 12 months. So I've been trying to get my head around Brexit. But aside from that, I've had a great little journey over the last year, being on The Apprentice UK, getting fired in front of a lot of people on TV, but still bounce back from that. It's been great, and you'll see some of my products there. It's a lot of cleansing, skincare. We're in a lot of pharmacies across Ireland too, and Super Value and Dunn's. So that's kind of where you'll find our products. So I guess for me, trying to plan my business, I have a bit of familiarity around finding tariffs and stuff like that. The very boring thing when you're importing a product, but getting into the swing of thinking about it, getting into the UK is going to be interesting. So I don't have a huge team. So like talking about getting people in-house, that probably wouldn't be a solution for me. So I definitely have to try and get as much of an understanding about the potential as I can.
So obviously we're dealing with the UK. Brexit has a massive impact and potential impact on your business. When did you start preparing for Brexit, and what have you done to prepare for Brexit?
I think once I knew that I was going to be on the show and The Apprentice on BBC, I thought, well, look, this is going to be a big market for me. And that's, to be honest, that's why I did the show, was really to kind of break the UK with my products. So I started straight away. And I think at the early stages, it was assumed we would have a deal there, you know, that was kind of what was going to happen. But now things are changing. And so what I did was I took part in the local enterprise office. They did a Brexit workshop. I got a Brexit mentor. So it was really just about asking the hard questions. What is the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario is a no deal. And it's going to be difficult. So what I did was, once I knew I was going to have UK customers like Boots and Ocado, I started to put things together. So I looked at having a partner in the UK. So we have a wholesaler there. And this seemed to be the best strategy for me and my business. So we partnered with a wholesaler there, like a distributor. And they have, although I have the relationships with my buyers in Boots, they actually hold the vendor relationship, as in the invoices get processed via my wholesaler, who has a UK VAT number, a UK address, a UK warehouse. What I didn't want was Brexit to cause any disruption in supply or any issues importing the products in. I didn't want my Boots buyer to think, oh, I'm not going to deal with an Irish business because it's just a headache with Brexit. So I wanted to make sure that any issues would be between myself and my wholesaler and not the buyer, so that we could keep the supply smooth. And I think that was the best option for me. I'd looked at maybe opening a warehouse and keeping stock there, but I do think it would have required me setting up a UK company to maintain that properly. So the wholesaler business was the best for me. They're a really good partner, and although we don't know what the implications might be, at least it will be between them and I, rather than hassling my buyers who are busy enough as it is.
Yeah, and tell us about, because you've ramped up your online presence significantly since COVID. And I think very often when we're selling online, we think that we're not crossing borders and so on, but of course we are. Tell us about how your sales strategy has shifted since COVID.
Well, I mean, it's turned on its head, you know, Greg, because we had, just as COVID launched, we just launched into 350 stores, bricks and mortar stores in the UK, into Boots. So we realized pretty quickly, between our reliance on Primark, Pennies and Boots, that we had an issue. We're a very low price point product, so our products are all under €10, actually all under 8. And so the issue was selling online for us directly from Ireland. It never really made sense postage wise, but as soon as Brexit or COVID happened, it was something I looked at heavily. So pretty much overnight, we changed our whole strategy. We looked at getting online on Boots as soon as possible. We actually launched on Amazon UK and globally. And that was something I thought was important, because a lot of people in the UK have Amazon Prime, so they have next day delivery, and that's going to be a great service for them. Also, instead of focusing on Sainsbury's or Tesco to begin with, we went straight for Ocado, which is exclusively an online grocery. During the peak of COVID-19, they had, you know, tens of thousands of people queuing to get a delivery slot, because, you know, a lot of people didn't want to go to a store. So I think that the change has shifted forever. People who have never ordered online have started to, and now know how easy and straightforward it is. So we just had to get our product online. Same in Ireland. I know it's not Brexit related, but we did launch onto Super Value's website, which was hugely important, again, like that, because a lot of people ordering for delivery.
No, brilliant. And I suppose it's important that, you know, if you're selling through SuperValu, that your product can be found on their website. So sometimes just because your product's in the store doesn't mean you have a presence on their website. So really important. So often when we think about trading online or doing business online, we think about having an online website where you can buy your products, which you have, and we'll talk about that in a second. But also it's about being where the customer is buying. So making sure that you've got a presence in Boots, Amazon, and, you know, even the SuperValu website. So really good. And then obviously there's the Brexit implications of them. You said you did the Brexit workshop quite some time ago at the beginning. Yes. How did you find that? How did that help you prepare for Brexit?
It really helped me kind of ask myself questions. Like, of course, the answers were unknown and are still slightly unknown, although we definitely have more information now. But it was certain things like my products are all safety assessed in the UK. So that certification, it really made me go and question. And I think that's what, you know, Carol was saying. It's about whether you're importing or exporting. It's about asking your supplier the question. So I had to say, listen, we have everything safety assessed. Will those certificates stand? And they said, actually, yes, we have another office in Europe, so we're able to still certify. So sometimes it can seem like a big panic until you just ask the question. And I think definitely the workshop and even the mentoring had just from local enterprise had just got me to a point where I was able to think about those and make sure that I had all my ducks in a row, basically. And most of the people that I'm dealing with in the UK have been really supportive, and they're preparing for it just as much as we are trying to. So asking those questions, you know, am I covered? What's the story? Has been just the most helpful. I think I wouldn't have probably thought that they'd know. So it's really just asking yourself all of the questions. That's what I learned.
It's good to know that someone in the UK is preparing for Brexit, because it's certainly not the government. So that's brilliant. Great stuff. Now, Damien had a quick question there. Now this is decide, presumably. So how did you decide which online channel or channels was the best fit for Moxie Loves?
So, Damien, sometimes it's just a bit of a panic and you're thinking, I need to be online. And essentially we were looking at where people were shopping. And at the time, the department stores were closed. So I wasn't hugely concerned with any department store that had an online store. It was more so pharmacy, grocery, and Amazon. They were like the big three, because people were, you know, hoarding, stockpiling food and toilet rolls. So they're get flu and cold products, over-the-counter products from their pharmacy. So they were the main routes that I went. And of course, you couldn't deny the Amazon craze. You could see it across social media. People were ordering random things on Amazon, you know, homewares, and so to be there, to be able to get into my customer's basket. And I think based on my products, it's a basket filler. Sometimes you'll find us near till points, and we're that additional product that you throw into your basket. So we wanted to be where people would potentially do that on the likes of Amazon and Boots. Of course, we wanted to be online with Boots, which is because they sell over the counter online too. So again, we can be a basket filler there.
Brilliant. And back on to, say, your own personal website, and maybe the question here is, how is that? You've obviously availed of lots of supports through the local enterprise office, and I believe the website is no exception, insofar as I think you said earlier that to me privately that you were talking that you got the trading online voucher. Is that correct?
I did, and that was extremely helpful. And one thing to say, Greg, as well, we had already done our website prior and got the trading online voucher, and then the local enterprise office released it again for people to reapply for updates, for extensions, or whatever you might want to do. And I actually used that opportunity to apply for it for a different sort of way. So it was social media graphics. So we put up social media graphics to say now online on Boots. So you'll see some of our graphics there. They were incorporated post my original trading online voucher, but I reapplied, and you can use it for certain things. So if you're trying to support another retailer's website, but it's still your online channel, if it's for your social media content, if it's for videos. So trying to, you know, obviously a lot changed, and we had to swerve from we're a travel friendly product, take us with you wherever you go, to we're a, you know, treat yourself at home product. So a lot of our communication changed across our marketing. And so the trading online voucher is also for that, which I think is brilliant, because you don't necessarily have to use it for your own website. You can literally use it for any online trading, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. And the website looks great. It's functional. It looks great on mobile and desktop. It's fast. It's looking good. So
Great.
fantastic stuff. If I was to ask you, put you on the spot now, Pamela. If I was to ask you, in fact, I'm going to make you big screen to make you really feel like you're on the spot. There you go. Now you're really on the spot. If you give 5 tips for small businesses looking to prepare for Brexit. So what 5 things would you advise a business similar to yours that they need to do now to prepare for Brexit?
I would say ask questions. So whoever you're supplying, whoever's supplying you, ask those questions. I literally sent an email the other day when this was coming up and I was like, I must get an update from my supplier. And they said, look, we're setting up a warehouse in Europe as well. So that just gave me such a sigh of relief because people are preparing. So don't be afraid to ask questions. I think get your EORI number quickly because I haven't yet and I'm going to do that. And I think for sure look at those workshops because I've done one, but I'm going to go back and do another now that we have a little bit more information. You can never know too much. And I think with Brexit, we're literally getting information every day, every week. And so keeping yourself informed about that. And I know that Cara maybe suggested stockpiling. Whether you're exporting or not, you know, I'm looking at sending a good chunk of our stock in December because no matter what happens, I think for the first 2 months of next year, it's going to be slow as people start to get to grips with it. So whether you need to order or deliver, look at getting a lot of stock into your warehouse in the UK in November, December, and likewise order stock in ahead of time so that you can get yourself through January, February without the hysteria that's probably going to kick off. I hope that's 5.
At least someone was counting anyway, you know.
Okay, yeah.
No, brilliant stuff. So last but not least, so what's next for you? So what's next for Moxie Loves? I know it's been a very challenging year for us all, but what's next?
It has been challenging, Greg. I think I mentioned to you privately as well. We had a lot of products planned that are sort of not quite of the moment right now. You know, people aren't traveling and that's one of our USPs. So I pushed out a few products into 2022 when hopefully the world gets back to normal and actually brought some forward based around the new trends. So I don't know if you're familiar, you probably heard this saying before, but around recession times, there's the lipstick effect, which is where, you know, lipsticks, you know, increase in sales. Obviously, that's not going to be the case for this mini recession we have because people are wearing masks. So the next protocol will be the eye area. So I'm working on products based around the fact that a lot of people are going to be wearing masks for the foreseeable future. And so eye care is going to be a big trend in beauty. So that's going to be my focus and hopefully exports. Hopefully I'll get back to the UK personally over there in the flesh and grow the business.
Yeah, fantastic. I heard a term the other day called maskne. Is that a term?
It is a term, yeah. It's a very real thing. And I think depending on the person and the mask they're wearing, you know, we're using a lot of face coverings now and how people are washing them. You know, they're putting it in with the wash and detergents and it's rubbing on the skin. So people are getting breakouts around that area. And unfortunately, it's going to be with us a while. So one of our products, actually barefaced, is very handy for cleansing.
Oh, damn, I thought I'd come up with my next new brilliant idea. You've already got it.
No, you could try.
No, brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful words of wisdom, and you know, not as fancy as Jamie Heaslip, who you're off to visit now. So hopefully I won't make you late anyway.
No, but, thank you for having me, and thanks for the great information.
Thanks so much for joining us. Let's bring in Michael. Equally as glamorous as Jamie Heaslip. But Michael, just to wrap things up, let's talk about the local enterprise office supports that are out there. Just so you know, he's still muted there, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Pamela and Carol covered quite a bit of them. Like, the key thing is, as we were saying earlier on, there's the customs trading as a point, I suppose, a starting point. And from that, again, just picking up there what Pamela was saying, you know, you do that, you identify the issues, you start the planning. But there is mentoring support available for your local enterprise office there. So Brexit mentoring, and I would anticipate a bit like what Pamela was saying, when things get, the first couple of months of next year, there'll be a huge panic around. So I think there'll be more resources being put into the whole Brexit as well as COVID. So I'd imagine there'll be a lot more support there around Brexit and Brexit mentoring and one-to-one. But again, have that when you go to the workshop, have an engagement with the local enterprise office about what their supports are, because a lot of the time we have the flexibility to customer response. Then, you know, you have, as I mentioned earlier on, Enterprise Ireland have their ready for customs, which is granted for eligible clients there to help bring somebody in there to work on customs. Intertrade Ireland has for quite a long time now have their Brexit planning vouchers. So I think it's up to 100% covering up to €2,250 there to cover planning for Brexit. And I know for something very recently was announced, and it is particular to the border counties under the Co-Innovate programme, there's a business status review. So if you want to get your business reviewed in the context of Brexit, you apply through either local enterprise offices or through the Co-Innovate programme, and again, all you have to be there is added value manufacturing or a tradable service. So those are the standard, as to say, the standard range that are there. But in addition to that, you have other programs. And so if it's around, you want to actually look at your sourcing and how you manage your stock. Lean program, very suitable. Again, there's a Lean for Micro Enterprise Ireland have a Lean program. Again, talk to your local enterprise office. If you are looking at an alternative market, there's a technical assistance for micro exporters there from the local enterprise office. So depending what you do, there is a range of programs. And in the border counties, between now and the end of the year, there'll be another suite of management development programs, training programs around the retail sector, the green sector, exporting innovation, financial management, addressing both competencies and capabilities within companies in the border area. But I think I would just say it again, Greg, go back to the start. Log on to that website, localenterprise.ie Brexit, identify a customs clearance workshop, attend online, but also engage with your local enterprise office and bring your issues to them, and hopefully they will find a solution for you because we have the flexibility to respond.
Okay, that's the wonderful words of wisdom. Can't get better than that. And yeah, so let's bring everyone back in for a teary goodbye. I don't think Pamela's going to meet Jamie yet, so that's good. There you go. Just so you know, girls, you're just muted still at the moment, just so you know.
Thank you.
Just in case you want to say something. So we're near the end of another Lunch and Learn, and it's been absolutely brilliant. Carol, your words of wisdom have been amazing. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And we're convinced now that we need to attend one of the local enterprise Brexit workshops. That's a no-brainer. Pamela, thank you so much for your words of wisdom. It's, to be honest, I find it more inspirational when another business talks about what they've done than someone tells me what to do. So again, you've inspired me, and hopefully plenty out there. And always words of wisdom from Michael as well. So again, clear advice from Michael. Go to localenterprise.ie/Brexit, sign up for one of those workshops, and contact and engage with your local enterprise office. You're not alone, but Brexit is coming and it ain't going to go away. So now is the time to act. So guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Greg.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Your local enterprise office, helping your business respond.
And that's it. We'll be back, I believe, in 2 weeks for another Lunch and Learn. So look at the Facebook page to find out what's next. It's coming soon. And we will see you soon. Take care and bye-bye.